Jerome Williams stared at the styrofoam container in his hands. $7. Chicken over rice. The last meal he could afford until next week's paycheck. His daughter was waiting for him at the community center, hungry. She'd eaten peanut butter sandwiches for 3 days straight. But the woman on the sidewalk in front of him, shaking, lips turning blue, eyes barely focusing, she was dying. He could see it. The way her hands trembled, the shallow breathing, the confusion in her pale eyes. Jerome knelt down in the freezing rain and made a choice. He gave her the food, all of it. What happened next would change everything, because that woman wasn't who she seemed. And what she was about to do in the next 48 hours, nobody could have predicted it. Not even Jerome. Jerome Williams was tired, not the kind of tired that sleep fixes. The kind that lives in your bones, that sits on your chest when you wake up at 5:30 a.m. and reminds you that today will be exactly like yesterday. Hard. Endless. Barely enough. He was 38 years old, and some mornings he felt twice that. The alarm cut through the darkness of his one-bedroom apartment. Jerome reached over from the couch, his bed for the past 2 years, and silenced it before it could wake Aisha. His daughter slept in the bedroom. The only bedroom. She needed her own space, her own peace. Jerome had the couch, a thin blanket, and a pillow that had lost its shape months ago. He rolled his shoulders. His lower back screamed in protest. 6 hours at the warehouse loading dock, lifting boxes, stacking pallets, 70 pounds, 80 pounds, sometimes 100. His hands were calloused, his palms permanently rough. He'd lost 15 pounds in 3 months. Not from working out, from skipping meals. After the warehouse, he had 4 hours before his evening shift started, driving strangers around the city in his beat-up Honda. The check engine light had been on for 3 weeks. The mechanic wanted $850 to fix it. Jerome didn't have $850. He didn't have $85. This Thursday morning, November 21st, he had $12.18 in his checking account and $8.47 in his wallet. Rent was $1,150 a month. It will be auto-deduced tomorrow morning. He'd transferred his last reserves 2 days ago to cover it. After tomorrow, his account would show $1,137.82 until Friday's paycheck. He'd done the math 100 times. Paycheck, $1,240 after taxes, minus overdraft fees, $35, minus car payment, $280, minus the monthly payment on Simone's medical debt, $200. Left over, $725 for everything else. Gas, groceries, utilities, Aisha's after-school program fees. It never stretched far enough. Jerome stood up from the couch, felt his spine crack. He walked quietly to the bathroom, splashed cold water on his face. The mirror showed a man who looked older than his years. Gray creeping into his hairline, lines around his eyes that hadn't been there 3 years ago. Before Simone got sick, before the hospital bills, the treatments, the desperate hope that drained their savings account and maxed out every credit card. The final 6 months when she couldn't work anymore, when Jerome took on the second job, when they both knew how it would end but kept fighting anyway. She'd been gone for 2 years now. The debt remained. $47,000. Payment plan, $200 a month for 7 more years. Jerome pushed the thought away. He had a shift starting in 40 minutes. In the kitchen, he made coffee. Instant, cheap, bitter. No sugar. They were out. He drank it black, standing at the counter, looking at the artwork taped to every wall. Aisha's drawings, pencil sketches of birds, watercolor sunsets, a portrait of Simone from memory. Her smile, her eyes, the way she used to wear her hair pulled back. His daughter had her mother's talent, that quiet brilliance that turned blank paper into something beautiful. Mrs. Carter, Aisha's after-school art teacher, had pulled Jerome aside last month. "Your daughter is special," she'd said. Really special. There's a regional youth competition coming up. If she enters, if she wins, there's a scholarship. $2,000 towards summer art camp, mentorship with a professional gallery. Jerome had asked about the entry fee. $45 to register, about $60 for the supplies she'd need for the final piece. $105 total. Jerome had started saving immediately. $5 here, $10 there. Tips from rideshare passengers who were feeling generous. The loose change he'd find in the car's cup holders. He kept it in an envelope taped under the kitchen drawer. Currently, $38. The competition deadline was 9 days away. November 30th. He needed $67 more. Aisha had told him 2 weeks ago, "It's okay, Dad. Maybe next year." Her voice was small, understanding beyond her 9 years. She'd learned early not to ask for things they couldn't afford. But Jerome saw how she stopped at the art supply store window on their walks home, how she sketched in the margins of her homework, how something dimmed in her eyes when she said, "Maybe next year." He would find the money, sell something, work extra shifts, skip more meals, whatever it took. This was the one thing he could give her that mattered. Not just art supplies, the belief that her dreams weren't too expensive, that she deserved them. Jerome finished his coffee, checked his phone, 5:52 a.m. He wrote a note for Aisha, left it on the kitchen table. "Breakfast in the cabinet. Love you. Be good at school. Pick you up at 5. Dad." In the cabinet, a box of cereal, nearly empty, some crackers, half a jar of peanut butter. He grabbed his keys, his wallet with $8.47, his work gloves. Outside, the November air bit through his jacket. His breath made clouds in the darkness. The Honda started on the third try. The check engine light glowed orange on the dashboard. Jerome patted the steering wheel. "Just hold on a little longer," he whispered. "Please." The car rattled but moved forward. Jerome drove to the warehouse, the sky still dark, his back already aching, his stomach empty. Just another Thursday. 6 more days until payday. 9 days to find $67. He could do this. He had to. The warehouse shift ended at 2:00 p.m. Jerome clocked out, rolled his aching shoulders, and walked past his supervisor's office. Dan looked up from his computer. "Williams, you look rough, man. Take tomorrow off if you need to." Jerome forced a smile. "I'm good. Thanks." He couldn't afford a day off. Every shift mattered. Jerome walked to his car 2 blocks away. He checked his phone. 2:17 p.m. His rideshare app was open, ready for the afternoon rush. He tapped the login button. Error. Server connection failed. He tried again. Same message. Jerome checked the app's status page. System-wide outage. Estimated fix, 3 to 4 hours. There went $40, maybe $50. Gone. He sat in his car and recalculated. Without those earnings, groceries would be tight this week. More peanut butter sandwiches, more skipped meals. It was fine. He'd been here before. Jerome checked the time, 2:24 p.m. Aisha's program ended at 5 o'clock. He could go home and rest or wait at the library near the community center. Free Wi-Fi, warm. He chose the library. At 4:30 p.m., Jerome walked to the halal food cart near the library entrance. His stomach had been growling for an hour. He hadn't eaten since 6 o'clock a.m. Ahmed, the vendor, smiled. "Brother, the usual?" "Yeah. Chicken over rice. $7. Jerome pulled out his wallet. $5 bill. 3 ones. He handed them over. Ahmed packed the food generously, adding extra pita. "You good, brother?" "Always," Jerome said. The container was warm in his hands. He'd split it with Aisha. Saved the larger half for her. The temperature had dropped. Earlier drizzle had turned to sleet, 38 degrees. Jerome walked toward the community center. He was early, 20 minutes until pickup. That's when he noticed her. A woman collapsed against the brick wall of the shuttered barber shop next door. White, maybe mid-50s, soaked through in a filthy gray coat. No umbrella, no bag. She was slumped over, shaking violently. Jerome had seen homeless people on this block before. The warming center was 8 blocks away. He started to look away. Not his problem. But then she tried to stand. Her legs gave out. She fell hard onto wet concrete, hands barely catching herself. Her head missed the curb by inches. A small crowd had formed across the street, other parents arriving early, maybe 8 people. No one moved. One mother pulled her child to the opposite sidewalk. Someone muttered, "Probably high." 2 teenagers filmed on their phones, laughing. The woman wasn't moving now, just lying there in the sleet, trembling. Jerome looked at the food container in his hands, still warm. He looked at the community center doors. Aisha would come out soon. Hungry. He looked back at the woman. Her hand reached out weakly. Her mouth moved, trying to form words. Jerome closed his eyes. Simone's voice, a memory. If you can help, you help. He walked over, knelt down beside her, careful not to startle her. "Ma'am, can you hear me?" Her eyes fluttered open, pale blue, bloodshot, unfocused but responsive. Up close, things didn't fit. Her shoes, ruined but expensive. Ferragamo loafers, maybe $400 new. Her hair was matted, but underneath he could see professional highlights. Recent ones. A designer purse strap tangled around her wrist. The purse itself was missing. "Ma'am, are you okay?" She tried to speak. Her lips were blue. "Help. Please." Jerome took her wrist gently, checking her pulse like Simone had taught him. That's when he saw it. A medical alert bracelet. Platinum. Expensive. Engraved, Type 1 diabetic. Emergency, check glucose. His stomach dropped. Simone's sister had type 1 diabetes. He knew these signs. The shaking, the confusion, the pale skin, shallow breathing, hypoglycemia, low blood sugar, life-threatening. "Ma'am, when did you last eat?" One word, barely audible. "Yesterday, morning." Jerome's mind raced. If she hadn't eaten since yesterday morning, she'd have been declining for 30 hours. This was critical. Behind him, the community center doors opened. Kids streamed out. Aisha appeared, portfolio under her arm. She saw her father kneeling and ran over. "Dad, what's wrong?" Jerome didn't look up. "Baby, wait on those steps where I can see you. Just a few minutes." "Is she sick?" "Yeah, she's sick." Aisha stared at the woman, then at the food container. "She needs food, right? Like Aunt Patricia?" Jerome's throat tightened. His daughter understood exactly what was happening, and exactly what it would cost. The woman on the ground, dying from low blood sugar. The food in his hands, their only meal. His phone has 6% battery. Calling 911 meant waiting 45 minutes. She might not have 45 minutes. Someone across the street yelled, "Just call 911, man! Don't get involved!" No one else stepped forward. Jerome looked at his daughter, 9 years old, understanding, waiting. He looked at the woman, trembling, fading. He made his choice. Jerome opened the container. The smell hit him immediately. Grilled chicken, seasoned rice, warm pita bread. His stomach clenched. He hadn't eaten in over 10 hours. He pushed the hunger aside. "Ma'am, I need you to eat this. Can you sit up a little?" The woman's eyes struggled to focus on him. She tried to shake her head. "No, can't." "You're sick. This will help. Please." Jerome slipped his arm behind her shoulders, helped her lean against the brick wall. She was dead weight, barely able to support herself. He took a plastic fork from the container, scooped up rice and chicken. Small bite. "Here, slow, Just a little bit. She turned her head away weakly. Don't have money? I don't want money. I need you to eat. Open your mouth. Something in his voice, firm but kind, made her comply. Jerome fed her like he used to feed Aisha when she was small. Patient, encouraging, one bite at a time. Good. There you go. Another one. The woman chewed slowly, swallowed. Her hands were shaking so badly she couldn't have held the fork herself. Jerome kept going. Small bites, waiting between each one. Keep going. You're doing good. As she lifted her hand to steady herself, her coat sleeve pulled back. Jerome saw a watch. Scratched crystal, but unmistakable. Cartier tank. The real thing. Easily $4,000 new. He didn't say anything. Maybe it was a gift. Maybe she'd owned it before things went wrong. People fell on hard times in all kinds of ways. After 5 minutes, something changed. The woman's shaking eased slightly. Color started returning to her face, just a hint of pink in her cheeks. Her breathing deepened, became less shallow. Her eyes focused better, landing on Jerome's face and actually seeing him. "Thank you," she whispered. Her voice was stronger. "Thank you so much." "Keep eating. You're not done yet." Jerome glanced back at Aisha. She was sitting on the community center steps, portfolio on her lap, watching. Other kids and parents were leaving, but she stayed put like he'd asked. He felt a sharp pang of guilt. She was cold, hungry, waiting for him, but he couldn't leave yet, not until this woman was stable. He turned back, kept feeding her. After 10 minutes, the woman could hold the fork herself. Her hands still trembled, but she managed. Jerome stayed close, monitoring. Simone had taught him, after a hypoglycemic episode, you watch for 15 to 20 minutes. Sometimes there's a rebound. Sometimes things get worse again. The crowd across the street had mostly dispersed. The teenagers had gotten bored and left. It was just Jerome, the woman, and Aisha waiting in the cold. "What's your name?" Jerome asked gently. The woman looked at him. Her eyes were clearer now, sharp even, intelligent. "Catherine," she said. "Catherine Mercer." "I'm Jerome. That's my daughter Aisha over there." Catherine glanced at Aisha, managing a weak wave. Aisha waved back hesitantly. "I'm so embarrassed," Catherine said. Her voice was steadier now, more composed. "I can't believe. This is... Don't worry about it. You were sick. Can you tell me what happened?" Catherine took a shaky breath. "I have type 1 diabetes. Usually I manage it perfectly. But I was at a conference downtown this morning, the Urban Investment Summit at the Convention Center." Jerome nodded, letting her talk. "I had blood work scheduled early, so I was fasting, but I forgot to adjust my insulin before the conference lunch. Stupid mistake. Stupid. That can happen. During the midday panel, I started feeling off, dizzy, lightheaded." Catherine closed her eyes, remembering. "Instead of asking for help, God, I'm an idiot. I walked outside for air. I thought I'd circle the block and come right back. But you didn't. I left my purse at my table. Phone, wallet, insulin kit, everything. I just walked. I got disoriented. I kept thinking I'd find my way back, but nothing looked right. I think I walked for 3 hours, maybe 4. Jerome looked around, getting his bearings. "You're in West Philly, about 4 miles from the convention center." Catherine's eyes widened. 4 miles? I walked 4 miles? Looks like it. My team must be frantic. There's an evening gala tonight, 7 o'clock. I'm supposed to give closing remarks. She tried to stand. "Oh God, what time is it?" Jerome checked his phone. 4:53. "And no, you're not going anywhere yet." "But I have to..." "Ma'am, Catherine, you almost died just now." "You collapsed. You need to get checked out." Catherine's face showed genuine distress. "No hospitals. Please, If I go to a hospital, they'll notify people. It'll become this whole thing. I just need my phone. I can handle this myself. Jerome studied her. She was coherent now, making sense, but her judgment was clearly still impaired. You don't have your phone, or your wallet. You can't even call a cab. Catherine looked down at her hands like she was seeing them for the first time. Empty. No phone, no purse. The Belmont, she said suddenly. I'm staying at the Belmont Hotel downtown. If I can just get back there. That's a $30 cab ride, and you don't have any money. Reality was sinking in. Catherine's shoulders sagged. Jerome made a decision. Okay, here's what we're doing. There's a hotel 6 blocks from here. Not fancy, but they'll have a phone. You can call your people from there. 6 blocks? Can you walk? Catherine tested her legs, pushed herself up using the wall. She wobbled but stayed upright. I think so. All right, let's go. Jerome walked to the community center steps. Aish, come on, we're taking a walk. Aisha stood up, portfolio in hand. Is the lady okay? She's getting there. Stay close to me, okay? They started walking. Catherine leaned heavily on Jerome's arm. Aisha walked slightly ahead, watching for ice patches on the sidewalk. The sleet was relentless. The temperature had dropped to 35 degrees. Block 1. Catherine stumbled on uneven pavement. Jerome caught her. Easy. Take your time. No rush. Block 2. They passed a bodega. Warm light spilled from the windows. The smell of food drifted out. Jerome's stomach twisted. He hadn't eaten. Neither had Aisha. She glanced at the store, then at her father, said nothing. She understood. Block 3. Catherine tried to make conversation. Your daughter, she's lovely. You're a good father. I try. Block 4. A gust of wind hit them. Catherine shivered despite moving. Jerome stopped, took off his flannel overshirt, draped it over her shoulders. Now he was in just a t-shirt, 35 degrees. Dad, you'll get sick, Aisha said, worried. I'm okay, baby. Block 5. Something fell from Catherine's coat pocket. A business card, landing in a slush puddle. Jerome picked it up. Heavy cardstock, embossed gold lettering. Catherine Mercer, founding partner, Mercer and Vale Capital Management. Assets under management, $2.7 billion. He read it twice. $2.7 billion. He looked at Catherine. Filthy coat, ruined shoes, barely able to walk. He said nothing. Pocketed the card. Block 6. They turned a corner. And there it was. Not a cheap hotel like Jerome had been thinking. The Belmont Grand Hotel, 20 stories, gleaming glass entrance, gold trim, doormen in uniforms. One of the most expensive hotels in Philadelphia. Catherine straightened up slightly. Oh no, this is my hotel. I'm staying here. Jerome stared at the building, then at her. You're staying here? Presidential suite, Catherine said quietly. Before Jerome could process that, the doorman saw them approaching. His eyes went wide with recognition and alarm. He grabbed his radio, already running toward them. Ms. Mercer! Ms. Mercer! Oh my God! Are you all right? Jerome felt the ground shift under his feet. Ms. Mercer. They knew her. What the hell was happening? The doorman's voice cracked with panic. Ms. Mercer! Thank God! He grabbed his radio. Front desk, Ms. Mercer is here. I repeat, she's returned. Jerome stood frozen, one arm still supporting Catherine, his daughter beside him. The hotel's glass doors burst open. A man in a crisp suit, the general manager, rushed out. Behind him, a woman in sharp business attire, phone pressed to her ear. 2 security guards followed. Ms. Mercer! The general manager's relief was palpable. We've been calling hospitals, police stations. The woman in the suit ended her call. "Catherine, Jesus, we thought—" She stopped, taking in Catherine's appearance. The matted hair, the soaked clothes, the stranger supported her. "I'm fine, Rachel," Catherine said. "Everyone calm down. I had a medical episode, but this man saved my life." All eyes turned to Jerome. He felt suddenly exposed, out of place. The hotel lobby behind them was marble and gold, chandeliers, fresh flowers, people in expensive clothes. And here he was, warehouse worker, wet t-shirt, freezing. The general manager extended his hand. "Sir, we cannot thank you enough. What you've done—" "I didn't do anything special," Jerome interrupted. "She needed help." "Don't be modest," Catherine said. She was standing straighter now, finding her composure. "He gave me his last meal, his and his daughter's only dinner." She looked at Rachel. "What cash do we have?" Rachel's eyes widened. "About 300 in the suite safe." Catherine turned to the general manager. "Can you get me $1,000 cash in 5 minutes?" "Absolutely, Ms. Mercer." "No," Jerome said quickly. "Really, that's not necessary." Catherine's hand gripped his arm. Firm. Strong. "Jerome, you saved my life. You're standing here freezing because you gave me your jacket. Please, let me do this." Aisha tugged Jerome's hand, whispered. "Dad, she's really rich, isn't she?" Jerome whispered back. "Looks like it, baby." Rachel disappeared into the lobby. The general manager was on his phone, speaking urgently about the hotel's safety. Catherine looked at Jerome directly. Her pale blue eyes were sharp now, focused. "I need your contact information." "What?" "Your address. Phone number. Please." Jerome felt uncomfortable. "Ms. Mercer, you don't have to— I'm not letting you disappear. You don't understand what you did." "I gave you some food. That's all." "That's not all." Her voice was firm. "You made a choice most people wouldn't make. That tells me everything about who you are." Rachel reappeared, holding an envelope. 500 from the safe. She held it out to Jerome. He stepped back. "I can't take this. You're okay. That's what matters." He started backing toward the street, pulling Aisha gently. "We should go. You have people waiting." Catherine's voice stopped him. "Rachel, get his information, now." The assistant approached with a notepad and pen. "Sir, please?" Jerome hesitated. He looked at Aisha, shivering, cold, hungry. She nodded slightly. He took the pen, wrote his name, address, phone number. Rachel handed the paper to Catherine. Catherine studied it. "West Philly. Jerome Williams." She looked up. "I'm coming to see you. Tomorrow evening, 7 p.m. "Tomorrow? Why?" "Because what I'm about to do requires time to arrange." Catherine's intensity was unsettling. "And it's going to change your life." Jerome didn't understand. "Just be home tomorrow at 7. Please." He nodded slowly. "Good." Catherine folded the paper carefully. "Thank you, Jerome. I'll see you tomorrow." The general manager returned with another envelope. "The additional 500. Catherine held both envelopes out. "Please, take it." Jerome shook his head. "I can't." "Then take it for your daughter, for her art competition." How did she know about that? "I pay attention. She mentioned it while we were walking. Please." Jerome looked at the envelopes. $1,000. His pride said no. His daughter's cold hand said something different. He took them. "Thank you." "No, thank you." Catherine turned to Rachel. "Call the car service. Get them home. My account." "We can walk?" "You've done enough walking today." 10 minutes later, Jerome and Aisha were in a town car, warm air blasting. Aisha leaned against him. "Dad, what just happened?" Jerome stared at the 2 envelopes in his lap. I have no idea, baby. But something told him tomorrow would bring answers. The car dropped them home at 6:15 p.m. Jerome and Aisha climbed the 3 flights to their apartment in silence. Inside, Jerome turned on the heat, helped Aisha out of her wet jacket. Go change into something dry, baby. I'll make us dinner. Aisha looked at him. Do we have food? Jerome pulled out one of the envelopes Catherine had given him. Inside, 5 crisp $100 bills. Yeah, we have food now. While Aisha changed, Jerome counted the money. $1,000. More than he'd held at once in 2 years. He separated $200, tucked it in his wallet. The rest went in the kitchen drawer with his competition savings envelope. $38 plus $800. $838. Aisha's art competition was covered, with money left over. Jerome sat on the couch, suddenly exhausted. His phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. Mr. Williams, this is Rachel Carter, Ms. Mercer's assistant. She wanted me to confirm. 7 p.m. tomorrow evening, your address. She'll be there. Thank you again for today. Jerome stared at the message. She was really coming. This wasn't some polite promise people make and forget. He Googled her name on his cracked phone screen. Catherine Mercer, 54, co-founded Mercer & Vale Capital in 1998. He scrolled through images. Catherine at charity galas in elegant gowns. Catherine cutting ribbons at building openings. Catherine shaking hands with the mayor. Forbes profile. One of the 50 most influential women in finance. Her firm's focus, impact investing, affordable housing, minority-owned business support, urban revitalization. Jerome clicked on a project list. His breath caught. Mercer & Vale funds $15 million affordable housing development in West Philadelphia. Local business incubator receives $3 million grant from M&V Foundation. Riverside Community Center renovation. Major donor Mercer & Vale Capital. Riverside, where Aisha did her art program. Jerome stood up, walked to his window. He could see the community center from here, 3 blocks away. He'd walked past that building hundreds of times. There was a plaque by the entrance listing donors. He'd never paid attention to it, but Catherine's firm had been investing in his neighborhood for years. His community, the place he lived, worked, struggled. She wasn't just wealthy. She was actively involved here. And now she was coming to his apartment. Tomorrow. Why? Jerome's phone buzzed again. Another text. Different number. Jerome, this is Catherine. I wanted to send this myself. What you did today, it mattered more than you know. See you tomorrow. Please be home. This is important. CM. He saved the number. Made dinner for Aisha. Scrambled eggs and toast, the last of what they had. Tomorrow, he'd go shopping with Catherine's money. At 8:45, he tucked Aisha into bed. Dad? She asked sleepily. Is that lady going to help us? I don't know, baby. I think she will. She seemed nice, under all the dirt. Jerome smiled. Yeah, she did. After Aisha fell asleep, Jerome sat on the couch in the dark. Tomorrow at 7 p.m. What could someone like Catherine Mercer possibly want with someone like him? He didn't sleep well that night. Friday morning, 5:30 a.m. Jerome's alarm went off. He silenced it, stared at the ceiling. Warehouse shift in 30 minutes. His body ached, but his mind raced. Tonight, 7 p.m. Catherine Mercer. At the warehouse, Dan called him over during break. You seem distracted. Is everything okay? Something's happening tonight. Not sure what. Good or bad? Jerome thought about it. I don't know. The shift dragged. At 2:00 p.m., Jerome clocked out. Text from Catherine. Still on for 7 p.m. He texted back, I'll be there. He picked up Aisha early. We need to clean the apartment. We're having a visitor. The rich lady? Yeah, the rich lady. They spent 2 hours cleaning. Jerome vacuumed, organized, made the place presentable. At 6:45, he changed into his cleanest jeans, a button-down shirt. Aisha did homework at the kitchen table. "Baby, when Ms. Mercer comes, stay in the bedroom, okay? This is grown-up talk." "Okay, Dad." At 6:50 p.m., Jerome looked out the window. 3 black SUVs pulled up. His heart pounded. The middle vehicle's door opened. Catherine stepped out, transformed. Tailored gray suit, hair pulled back. Professional. Powerful. She wasn't alone. Rachel emerged carrying a briefcase, a man in an expensive suit holding a leather folder, another woman with a laptop bag. All 3. Coming here. Jerome heard footsteps on the stairs, opened the door before they knocked. Catherine smiled. "Jerome, thank you for seeing me." "Ms. Mercer." "Please, Catherine." She gestured to the others. "This is Rachel, my assistant. David Cho, my attorney. Lisa Brennan, my accountant." Jerome shook hands, bewildered. "Why do you need an attorney and accountant to thank you?" Catherine's smile widened. "Because what I'm offering requires legal and financial structure. May we come in?" They entered. Catherine noticed Aisha's artwork. "Your daughter is very talented." Aisha peeked from the kitchen. Catherine waved. "Hi, Aisha. Your drawings are beautiful." Aisha smiled shyly, disappeared into the bedroom. Catherine sat on the couch. Rachel and the others arranged themselves nearby. David opened his briefcase. Lisa powered up her laptop. Jerome remained standing, too nervous to sit. "Jerome," Catherine began, "in 26 years I've built my career on one principle: identify people of exceptional character and invest in them. Not businesses. People." Jerome listened. "I look for specific traits: resilience under pressure, empathy despite hardship, moral clarity when no one's watching, wisdom under stress." She leaned forward. "Thursday night, you demonstrated all 4. You were exhausted, broke, hungry, responsible for your daughter. You still chose to help a stranger, not for recognition, because it was right." Jerome's throat tightened. "That tells me who you are. So here's my proposal." David placed a document on the coffee table. "This is an offer of partnership in a new initiative I'm launching, the Character Capital Initiative." Catherine continued. "I'm personally funding it, $10 million, separate from my firm. The goal: identify individuals like you who have exceptional character but lack opportunity, and invest directly in them." Jerome struggled to process. "Invest how?" "I want to hire you as Community Outreach Director." The room tilted. "Your job: live in your community, identify people like yourself who need a chance, help me evaluate them for investment. You'd be my connection to the people who need this most." Lisa spoke. "Salary: $85,000 per year. Full benefits: health, dental, vision. 401k matching. Start date December 1st. $85,000. Jerome's current income: $33,000. Working 80 hours weekly." "But that's not all," Catherine said. David pulled out another document. "As the first hire and proof of concept, you'll receive $150,000 in seed capital. One-time payment, transferred to your name." Jerome sat down heavily. $150,000? "Yes, for debt elimination, housing security, business startup, education, emergency fund, whatever creates stability for you and your daughter." Catherine's eyes were intense. "No interest. No repayment timeline. One covenant: stay in your community. Use your resources to lift others. In 5 years, mentor at least 2 people. Pay it forward, not back." Jerome's hands shook. "Why me? I'm nobody. I work in a warehouse. I'm drowning in debt. I'm not special." Catherine's expression softened. You're wrong. Thursday night, you had $8.47. A hungry daughter waiting. You gave your last meal to a stranger who had nothing to offer in return. She paused. That's not desperation. That's character. And character like yours is rarer than wealth, rarer than degrees or credit scores. Lisa turned her laptop. Your medical debt is $47,000, correct? Jerome nodded. How did they know? With $150,000, you eliminate that immediately. Freeze up $200 monthly. The remaining $103,000 covers better housing, emergency fund, seed capital for ventures. What if I fail? Jerome whispered. What if I'm not good at this? What if I lose the money? Catherine leaned forward. Then we figure it out. This isn't a loan. You won't owe me anything. If ventures fail, the salary continues. You keep the debt payoff. This is an investment in you, not a contract with penalties. Jerome felt tears burning. I need to tell you something, Catherine said quietly. About Thursday. Okay. I wasn't as disoriented as I seemed. The crisis was real, but I came faster than I let on. After you fed me, I was coherent enough to notice things. Your worn shoes, your daughter's thin jacket. I could have revealed who I was, offered money right there. Why didn't you? I needed to see what you'd do next. Would you ask for something? Leverage the situation? So many would have. But you walked me to safety, refused cash, tried to disappear. That's when I knew. You were testing me. Hurt crossed Jerome's face. Observing. You passed a test you didn't know existed. Silence. Does that change your answer? Catherine asked. Jerome thought. Then, no, I'd do it again, even knowing, because I helped someone dying. That's all that mattered. That's all that matters now. Catherine smiled warmly. That's exactly the right answer. Jerome sat in silence, staring at the documents on his coffee table. The words blurred together. 85,000. 150,000. Character Capital Initiative. It sounded impossible. Catherine watched him patiently. Rachel, David, and Lisa waited. I don't know what to say, Jerome finally managed. You don't have to say anything yet, Catherine said gently. But I'd like to walk you through the practical details, so you understand exactly what this means. David opened the contract folder. The employment agreement is straightforward. 3-year guaranteed term, renewable. Salary paid bi-weekly. Benefits start immediately. Full health coverage for you and your daughter, dental, vision, 401k with 4% employer match. Lisa pulled up a spreadsheet on her laptop. The seed capital structure is separate. $150,000 transferred to a dedicated account in your name within 10 business days of contract signing. No interest, Catherine added. No repayment schedule. The only restrictions, it can't be used for luxury purchases, cars over $30,000, jewelry, speculation. It must be for stability and growth. Jerome's mind was spinning. The $47,000 in medical debt. I could pay that off immediately? Yes, Lisa said. We actually recommend you do that first. It eliminates $200 in monthly payments, frees up cash flow immediately. And I'd still have $103,000 left? Correct. The math was staggering. Jerome had never had more than $2,000 in savings at once, ever. What about my current jobs? He asked. When would I quit? Give 2 weeks' notice once you've signed, Catherine said. We'll cover any gap in income if needed. Your first paycheck from us will arrive December 1st. Jerome thought about Dan at the warehouse, the rideshare app, the endless double shifts, walking away from that, actually walking away. What exactly would I be doing? Jerome asked. As community outreach director? Catherine leaned back. Exactly what you're already good at. Being present in your community, listening, noticing who needs help. You'd bring me candidates, people who show the same qualities you did. Character, resilience, potential. And you'd invest in them too? Yes. Not everyone gets 150,000. The amounts vary based on need and opportunity. But the principle stays the same. We invest in people, not credit scores. How many people are we talking about? I'm starting with 6 recipients per year. You'd help me identify maybe 10 to 12 candidates annually. I'd evaluate them, make final decisions. But your judgment would carry significant weight. Rachel spoke up. Ms. Mercer has already funded 2 recipients before you through different channels. Both have been extraordinary successes. You'd be the third, but the first hired to help scale the program. Jerome looked at Catherine. Why not just hire someone with experience? Someone who knows business, finance, all that stuff I don't know? Because I don't need someone who knows business. Catherine's voice was firm. I need someone who knows how to struggle, who understands what it means to choose between dignity and survival, who can spot character in people the system has overlooked. She gestured around his apartment. You've been where these people are. That's irreplaceable. I can teach you systems and processes. I can't teach you empathy born from lived experience. Jerome felt something catch in his chest. What about Aisha? He asked quietly. Her competition is fully funded, Catherine interrupted. That $1,000 I gave you yesterday? Consider it handled. Register her today. Buy her the best supplies. And when she needs summer art camp or a magnet school or college someday, that's part of why we're doing this. So you never have to choose between her dreams and rent again. Jerome's eyes burned. He looked down, trying to compose himself. Lisa closed her laptop gently. Mr. Williams, I know this is overwhelming. Would you like some time to think? Review the contracts with your own attorney? I don't have an attorney. We can recommend someone independent if you'd like a second opinion, David said. We want you to feel completely comfortable with this. Catherine held up a hand. Actually, before you decide, I need to be completely transparent about one thing. Jerome looked up. This program will eventually be public. Not your name without your permission, but the model. I want other investors to see that character-based funding works. I'll be writing about it, speaking about it, potentially using it to influence how capital gets distributed in this country. So I'd be like a case study? In a sense, but only if you consent. Your privacy is yours. However, I won't lie. I'm hoping to prove something bigger here. That investing in good people, regardless of their circumstances, yields better returns than our current system of gatekeeping based on wealth and connections. Jerome absorbed this. And if I fail, if I take this money and mess it up somehow, doesn't that hurt your whole argument? Catherine smiled. That's exactly why I chose you. Because you're already thinking about the responsibility, not just the opportunity. But to answer your question, no. Failure is part of any investment. I'm not expecting perfection. I'm expecting you to try, to learn to show up. That's all. Jerome stood, walked to the window, looked out at his neighborhood. The community center is 3 blocks away, the corner store where he bought groceries, the streets he'd walked his whole life. If I do this, he said slowly, I will stay here, in West Philly. That's the whole point, Catherine said. This community knows you, trusts you. That's valuable. And in 5 years, I will help 2 other people the way you're helping me. Yes. Jerome turned back. Just 2? That seems low. Catherine's smile widened. Minimum 2. You can help as many as you want, but 2 is the covenant. Jerome looked at his daughter's artwork on the walls, on the worn couch he'd been sleeping on for 2 years, at the 3 people sitting in his tiny apartment with contracts that could change everything. He thought about Simone, what she'd say right now. She'd tell him to stop overthinking, to accept the gift, to let someone help for once. Okay, Jerome said quietly. I'll do it. Catherine stood, extended her hand. "Welcome to Character Capital, Jerome." He shook her hand. Firm, real. "When do I start?" "Right now. Sign the papers and we start building your new life today." David handed him a pen. Jerome Williams, who'd had $8.47 2 days ago, signed his name. And everything changed. Week 1. Liberation. November 23rd, Saturday morning. Jerome sat at his kitchen table with Lisa, Catherine's accountant, reviewing paperwork. "This is the account," Lisa said, turning her laptop. "Balance, $150,000. Jerome stared at the number. "First recommendation," Lisa continued. "Pay off the medical debt. $47,000. One transaction." Jerome's hand trembled as he clicked authorization. The confirmation email arrived. "Paid in full." He printed it, framed it, hung it on the wall. That night, Jerome slept 10 hours straight. No anxiety, no panic. Just deep, peaceful sleep. Monday, he gave 2 weeks' notice at the warehouse. Dan shook his hand. "Good for you, man. You deserve better." Tuesday, he quit rideshare. His last passenger tipped $20. Jerome gave it to the next driver. "Someone helped me. Passing it on." Wednesday, Aisha registered for the art competition. Jerome bought professional supplies, real paints, quality brushes, good canvas. She cried when she saw them. "Dad, this is too much." "No, baby, it's exactly right." Month 1. Building stability. December 1st. Jerome's first official day. Catherine's office downtown, 18th floor. A desk waited. Nameplate. Jerome Williams, Community Outreach Director. His first paycheck was deposited. $3,246 after taxes, more than he used to make in 6 weeks. Catherine trained him personally. "Your job is simple. Be in your community. Listen. Notice who needs help. Bring them to me." With steady income, Jerome qualified for a 2-bedroom apartment. Still West Philly, but newer. Safer. Rent, $1,600 monthly. Manageable now. December 15th, move-in day. Aisha walked into her own bedroom and stopped. "This is mine? Just mine?" "Yeah, baby. All yours." She cried happy tears, hung her artwork on her walls. Jerome set aside $15,000 as an emergency fund. 6 months of expenses. A cushion he'd never had. He fixed his car. $850, paid cash, check engine light off. Christmas came. Jerome bought Aisha supplies, new clothes, books she'd wanted. Not extravagant, but not the cheapest versions. She hugged him until he couldn't breathe. Month 3. The ripple begins January. Jerome identified his first candidate, Shanice, single mother of 3, 2 jobs, hotel housekeeping, night security, taking online courses for her nursing degree. Jerome noticed her bringing groceries to elderly neighbors, despite barely having enough herself. He learned her story. 1 class from graduating, 3 years stuck. Couldn't afford $4,800 for final semester tuition. Jerome brought her to Catherine. Catherine listened, evaluated. Decision. Fund her. Tuition plus $10,000 buffer so she can quit 1 job and finish. Shanice received the news in Catherine's office. She sobbed. "This isn't real." "It's real," Jerome said. "Someone helped me. Now we're helping you." Shanice graduated in May. Pennsylvania Hospital hired her. $68,000 starting salary. She called Jerome, crying. "You changed my life." "No, you changed your own life. We just removed the barrier." February. Second candidate. Darnell, 19, aged out of foster care. Brilliant with computers, homeless, couch surfing. Catherine funded coding boot camp, $12,000, plus 6 months housing stipend. April. Darnell landed a junior developer job. 35,000 salary, his own apartment. The pattern repeated. Word spread quietly. That guy Jerome? He's helping people now. Month 6. Recognition. April. A local reporter heard about character capital. Feature article. From broke to benefactor. How one act of kindness sparked a movement. Jerome was uncomfortable but agreed to interview. He talked about Catherine, Shanice, Darnell. The philosophy. We invest in character, not credit scores. Catherine's quote. Jerome proved my theory. People with strong character and limited resources make exceptional investments. They multiply opportunities. May. The city council recognized character capital publicly. Catherine and Jerome attended. Aisha sat in the audience, beaming. Her competition result, second place, $1,000 scholarship. Acceptance to summer art intensive. Jerome signed the permission slip with tears. The intensive led to more, Magnet Arts high school scholarship offer for 7th grade. Mrs. Carter predicted top art colleges in Aisha's future. Jerome believed her. 6 months ago, he had $8.47, slept on a couch. Choose between food and dreams. Now, stability, purpose, ability to help others climb. And it started with one choice, one meal, one stranger who wasn't a stranger at all. 1 year later, November 21st evening, temperature dropping, light rain turning to sleet. Jerome drove through West Philly in his modest Camry. Reliable, practical, nothing flashy. He was finishing community visits, heading home for dinner with Aisha. He passed Riverside Community Center, the exact spot where everything changed. Jerome pulled over, parked, got out. He stood on the sidewalk, remembering. The cold. The woman collapsed against the wall. The impossible choice. The moment that rewrote his entire life. A young man sat on the curb nearby, maybe 20, Latino, skinny, shivering in an inadequate hoodie. He was staring at a dead phone, looking lost. Jerome walked over. Hey man, you okay? The young man looked up. Brown eyes, exhausted, defeated. Car broke down. Phone died. I'm supposed to be at a job interview downtown in 30 minutes. His voice cracked. I'm screwed. Jerome heard his own voice from a year ago. Broke, stressed, trying so hard. What's your name? Miguel. Miguel, where's the interview? City Hall. Some nonprofit, entry-level position. Miguel laughed bitterly. Probably doesn't matter now. I'm going to be late. They won't hire someone who can't even show up on time. Jerome didn't hesitate. Get in my car. I'll drive you. Miguel's eyes widened. What? Seriously? Yeah, come on. We can make it if we leave now. In the car, Miguel was quiet at first. Then, I don't understand. Why are you helping me? Because someone helped me once, when I needed it most. They talked during the drive. Miguel's story spilled out. Unemployed for 8 months, living with his grandmother in a one-bedroom. This interview was for $32,000 a year. Not much, but it would change everything. I just need a shot, Miguel said quietly. Just one chance to prove I can do it. Jerome knew that feeling, intimately. They arrived with 5 minutes to spare. Miguel started to get out, turned back. Man, I don't know how to thank you. I can't pay you or anything. Jerome cut him off. You don't pay it back. You pay it forward. Someday, when you can, help someone else. He reached into his wallet, pulled out a business card. Character Capital Initiative. His name was embossed on it. Whether you get this job or not, call this number next week. There's someone I want you to meet. Miguel took the card, confused. Who? Jerome smiled. Someone who believes in people like you. People like me. Just call. Miguel stared at the card, then at Jerome. Thank you. Really. Thank you. He ran into the building. Jerome watched him go, saw Miguel straighten his shoulders, lift his chin. Hope. Jerome pulled out his phone, texted Catherine. Found another one. Kid named Miguel. Reminds me of myself last year. When can you meet him? Catherine's response came immediately. Tomorrow if he's free. You have good instincts. Trust them. Jerome drove toward home. Aisha would be waiting. Probably doing homework, maybe painting. Their two-bedroom apartment with heat that worked and a fridge full of food. He thought about the year, the impossibility of it. How one choice, one meal given away, had cascaded into all this. Catherine had seen something in him that night, something he hadn't seen in himself. And now he got to do the same for others. Find the Miguels, the Shanices, the Darnells, people the system overlooked, people with character but no opportunity. Jerome passed the spot where he'd met Catherine again. On the wall, a small plaque had been installed last month. City Initiative. In honor of everyday heroes who choose compassion. Jerome smiled. Drove home. Ready to do it all again tomorrow. Jerome Williams gave away his last meal to a stranger. What happened next wasn't magic. It was choice. Catherine chose to see his character. She chose to invest. Jerome chose to accept help, then multiply it. Miguel will choose what to do with his opportunity. And now it's your turn. Here's what I know. You don't need millions to change a life. You just need to notice who needs help. And choose not to look away. This week, look for your moment. Buy someone's meal. Give your coat to someone shivering. Listen to a stranger's story. Small acts create big ripples. If Jerome's story moved you, share this video. Hit that like button. Subscribe for more stories that prove character still counts. And drop a comment. What's one kind thing you'll do this week? Because the world needs more people who act when no one's watching. Be that person.
The story you heard today wasn't cleaned up. It was told exactly as it happened. At Black Voices Uncut, we believe that's the only way truth can live. If you felt something, hit like, comment, and your reaction, and subscribe. Every week, we bring you voices that refuse to be silenced.